Hello, friends. Tia here, your San Francisco Bay Area luxury specialist. Well, I don't have much time for video this week or shooting videos because the market is absolutely crazy. So I just wanted to talk with you a little bit about the market right now, and hopefully we'll have more time to talk, and I'll have more time to address your comments and new subscribers next week. But I did want to make sure that we had a chance to circle back and talk about this crazy market. So here we are in this crazy market. Again, oh, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Like, subscribe, and comment right down here. Let me know what you want to hear about, what's of interest to you, and we'll definitely make sure that it's in one of our next videos. So, the busy market. Okay, so right now we are in what is traditionally called a seller's market. There's multiple offers. There's not enough homes for the people that want to buy. And again, I'm focusing mainly on the Oakland market. I do cover Alameda, San Francisco, Contra Costa, and parts of Solano and San Joaquin County, particularly for my investors as we go into the outlying areas in multi-unit properties, which I will talk about later, which are experiencing a different phenomena. But primarily in Oakland right now, the market is absolutely on fire. Many multiple offers. There's going to be at least one other buyer competing for whatever property you're competing for. So you really, really need a good agent, and especially now because you can't even get in to see the properties unless you're working with an agent. So hot seller's market. But with a good agent who knows the other agents, you'll do just fine. The reason that we have that kind of market again is because we don't have enough property for all the people who want to buy property. And as you probably have heard, there is a mass exodus underway, a mass exodus underway. So the interesting thing about Oakland is it's both a big city and kind of a suburb. Or at least it has neighborhoods that are suburb-like. So what I'm saying is you have many large industries, you have healthcare, you have manufacturing, you have some of the tech industry here, but then you also have neighborhoods that are kind of far away from all of that commercial activity, and little villages where they might have a small 3 or 4 block commercial area, commercial retail area, where you got your Safeway and your banks and other small businesses, and then you have neighborhoods surrounding those. So like San Francisco, Oakland is a collection of really interesting little neighborhoods with commercial districts tying it all together. But as I said, really the big city in the area is San Francisco. Well, what's happening right now as a result of the pandemic, which is why I'm coming to you from my car yet again, is that people are moving out of the cities because they can realize that they can be farther away from work, maybe drive in twice a week, drive in even 3 times a week is an improvement over having to be there every single day. And then, of course, you get more for your money when you come out of San Francisco. So, in San Francisco, you're going to routinely see those 1.6, 1.7, sometimes 2 million price points, and that price point is going to get you a lot of house in Oakland, even in some of our most upscale neighborhoods. Now, Piedmont, that's kind of a starter home in Piedmont, but in good school districts in Oakland, a 1.6, 1.7 is really, really going to put you in a great place. But at all price points, we're seeing a lot of demand. 600,000, 800,000, a million. All of those properties are experiencing multiple offers. And again, let me just be clear, these are single family homes, and that means not duplexes, where you would have two families, maybe, or two people who want to be separate, who are the one family, and not multi-units. A duplex is considered a multi-unit, but let me explain. A duplex, a threeplex, and a fourplex can be financed in the same manner as a single family home. You only need 20% down. You could use an FHA loan. So they're kind of in one category of multi-unit. The other category of multi-unit, which is 5 units and above, becomes a commercial property, and that has to be financed differently. Generally, you need 25% down. Generally, there are less lenders that will lend on that property because it's really a specialized product. My understanding certainly is that you're not going to be able to use an FHA product on that, or even a VA product, as far as I know. So it becomes a different category, and that's why you see those 5 units and above properties being a little cheaper, based on the fact that they're really an investment. You might have a group of people that come together, or someone who owns a number of properties using a 1031 tax deferred exchange to be able to buy up into a commercial property like that, but they've probably got their own house, or a number of homes, and lenders see those as a bit more risky as well, and so that's why that's a harder loan to get, and they want more money down. So primarily today, I'm going to be talking about 4 units and below. And certainly when I'm talking about multiple offers and where all the fire is in the market, it's those single family properties. It's a house. It's what most people think of when they think of a house. So mass exodus underway. That's happening all over the country. Certainly all the big cities, New York, San Francisco. I'm not sure about LA because LA is a very large city geographically, and there's a lot of sprawl. And so there's not that kind of like center that people are really trying to move out of. San Francisco, which is where I was born and raised, so I know it very, very well, is surrounded by water on 3 sides. It's 7 by 7. That's all you have. You're not going to get more land. There's nowhere else to develop that's not already developed. And it is a real core central city when you think of a city. And what is happening right now is people are moving out of those cities. An interesting fact is that Facebook said that if people want to work remotely, that is great. And that is fine. But if you move somewhere way out of the state, like, not way out of the state, but out of the state, like Portland or Phoenix or Austin, all great places, but lower cost of living. So your pay is going to be cut to be in line with the cost of living to where you move. But if you move to Oakland from San Francisco or from somewhere on the peninsula, your pay isn't going to be cut. So there's, again, an additional pressure on the small amount of inventory that we do have in Oakland, because people know they can be getting the same wage, still be in the Bay Area, but their money will go further. So that's what you're looking at in Oakland. So just to bear that in mind. Also, I wanted to mention that the selling season will go late this year. And I'm sure you can guess why, because we had an entire month where no one knew what was going on. I was still working and selling because I'm considered essential. As a realtor, people need to be able to move. But, a lot of other people had to shelter in place, and there was no system quite in place for showing properties. That's all been worked out. It's all been negotiated with the state. It's done in a safe manner. We're doing a lot of sanitizing. We're doing disclosures that everyone has to sign to make sure that no one is sick that's entering the property, making sure the properties are sterilized properly. So there's a great system in place now, so that people can view properties, buy and sell as they need to. So that's another thing that's kind of keeping the market going, but also, let's say, hit the pause button for a month. So what we're seeing now is all of that pent-up demand expressing itself. So looking at the Oakland market, I'm going to predict that we're going to see this strong, we're already at the end of July now, so we're going to continue to see this strong demand through August. We might see a bit of a taper in September, but that's still a lot longer than usual. Usually it starts to taper as the kids start getting back in school, which is anywhere from mid-August to the end of August to the beginning of September. And then certainly the market is done done by Halloween, and then that's when your investors start showing up and that sort of thing. So, and one thing I will say is I generally too try to get my buyers to hang on until the fall. The problem with that this fall is that the inventory is so low now that it's just going to be lower in the fall, and sellers are going to have an expectation of those higher prices. So that's called timing the market, and that's the problem with timing the market. You're better to know what your budget is, shop within your budget, but do it now, just in case you can slide in on one of these great homes that's on the market now. Because if you wait to the fall, the prices are still going up, and that is what happens in a seller's market. Prices are appreciating. So if you hang on until the fall, the houses aren't going to be there, the quality is not going to be as great, and anybody that is listing in the fall may not necessarily have the greatest product available. That's another thing. And a lot of the sellers with the better product are either selling now or they're in it for the long haul. They'll say, I'll do another 3, 4, 5 years here, and then I'll list. So just bear that in mind when you're trying to decide about making offers. Sellers, the opposite. Sell now because this is the time. You know, who's to say what will happen in the fall? But a lot of the predictions are saying that you're certainly not going to see the acceleration in house prices that you are seeing right now. And that if you are not listing now and not intending to list now, that you should be thinking to hold probably for the next 2, maybe 5 years. I mean, 5 years is such a long time to try to predict, but certainly for the next 2 years, because we're going to have a little bit of a rocky time here. So buyers, if you can buy now and you're ready, do so, especially because you're probably going to be holding on to the property for 5 years, and then that's an entirely different market, right? Sellers, sell now, or you're going to want to hold for 2 to 5 years. Mass exodus. So bear that in mind. And this is always the time I always say to people, as far as fashion is concerned, as far as what you like and where you want to be, not necessarily wanting to run with the herd. But in real estate, you want to run with the herd. So if the herd likes the property, that means it's a good investment. So you want to get in there and try to compete for that property as well. If people are staying away from the property, we want to take a second look. Maybe there is something unique about that property that you and only you will love, but it is something you want to bear in mind that people have been staying away from. So when you see that people are on the move, it's probably a good time for you to do so as well. So I'll just wrap up with multi-units, because multi-units are experiencing the opposite problem. And it's not a problem for single family homes, but for multi-units it is a problem. And the problem is that there's a glut of multi-unit properties on the market right now, and that's everywhere because we have a moratorium on evictions. And so what's happening is you have a lot of people that aren't paying their rent, they're sitting in the properties, and people aren't getting what they need to get out of their investments. So it's kind of an unfortunate thing that's happening there, in the sense that because of the moratoriums on evictions, the investments aren't performing, and because the investments aren't performing, people are trying to sell them, and when people see that people are trying to sell them, then they all rush in and try to sell them. So that's what we're seeing now. So if you are an investor and you have a multi-unit and your renters are paying their rent, I would hold on to that investment. I would definitely hold on to that investment until there's a moratorium on evictions, and then you're probably going to need another 4 to 6 months for all of these multi-unit properties that are listed now to sell, before it's going to be a good time for you to think about listing your properties. That's if you can. I mean, if you can't and you need to try to sell right now, then you've got to do what you've got to do. And sometimes there's estate sales and things like that where it's better just to let the property sit and hope that a good investor comes through and makes the offer that you need. But single family. It's happy times are here again. A lot of beautiful properties out there, being well prepared for market. So that's this week's market update. I look forward to seeing you again this same time, same channel. Every Friday I'll post. Right now I've been posting twice a week, and I hope to be able to keep up with that. But every Friday I'll always have a video for you. And remember to like, subscribe, and comment so you don't miss a video. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.